Welcome, everyone, to the Anaheim Ducks 2021 pre-draft lottery show presented by Honda. Ken French, alongside Brian Hayward. We are absolutely fired up, just chilling right now in between the Rinks restaurant here at Great Park Ice, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Ever since the regular season came to an end, Hazy, I think Ducks fans have been waiting for this moment to find out when the Ducks will choose, and they can't choose any less than fourth, so certainly a lot of excitement building right now.
Well, this is the silver lining, right?
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
when you finish near the bottom, you get a high pick, and the Ducks are guaranteed to get one of the top four picks. Fingers are crossed that they might actually be able to move up in the lottery and get pick number one, but quite honestly, I don't really think it makes all that much difference.
And we'll certainly go through some of the top prospects here momentarily. And by the way, Hazy, the Ducks haven't picked top four since 2005 when they took Bobby Ryan second overall, and they've never had a number one overall pick ever.
You know, I mentioned that they're picking and they're guaranteed a top four pick. Maybe their best top four pick was Paul Correa, fourth overall. It's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out. And I will say this to the fans at home. They're going to get a great player. Even if they drop down to number four, if you look at the last 4 or 5 drafts, 4 or 5 years after the fact, I would suggest that perhaps the number 4 picks have outperformed the number 1 picks. I mean, I go back to 2017. Would you rather have number 1 pick Nico Hischier, or would you rather have number 4 pick Cale Makar?
Yeah.
And in 2018, would you rather have Rasmus Dahlin, defenseman with the Buffalo Sabres, number 1 overall, or would you rather have Brady Tkachuk of the Ottawa Senators? So we know this. The Ducks are going to get a great player. I wouldn't read too much into the ranking. 1, 2, 3, or 4. We're going to let Bob Murray and his staff sort that out and get us the best player available.
Basically what you're saying is within the top four is a good chance you can have a quote-unquote franchise player that can help this organization for years to come.
Yeah.
Well, as I mentioned, we'll talk about some of the prospects, the top prospects that are available, but you mentioned GM and Executive Vice President Bob Murray. He is coming back for another year as long as Dallas Aikens for his 3rd season behind the bench. But there have been some changes in the hockey ops department. Yep. Let's go back to September. Martin Madden got a well-deserved promotion to assistant general manager.
Remember, Martin Madden has been running the amateur draft for the Ducks for a number of years now, and the reality of the situation is this: he was in demand.
Yeah.
And the rumor was the Seattle Kraken were knocking on his door, and we're very interested in acquiring the services, and Bob Murray stepped in and said, we can't afford to lose this guy. He's been promoted to the position of assistant general manager, but he's also still fully in control of the amateur draft.
Another change in the hockey ops department, we like to call him an icon, David Mcnabb, who at the time held as Senior Vice President of Hockey Operations. He was an original Mighty Duck. He called it a career. He'll be missed, but boy, does he have quite the resume.
You know, when I think back on David's career here with the Ducks, first of all, in the early years as Jack Ferrara's assistant, not only was he involved in contract negotiations and the salary cap and all of that, but he was a bird dog. He was out there and he was looking for prospects. And when you hear unsigned, undrafted college free agents that ended up becoming part of the Mighty Ducks, think of Andy, and you think of, boy, any number of them, Dustin Penner. These are key
Chris
acquisitions.
Kunitz, another
Chris
one.
Kunitz.
Yes.
Those were all Dave Mcnabb finds, and we're going to miss David. I was talking to him actually last week, and he said to me, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be around a little bit. You're going to be seeing him quite a bit. I would imagine up in the press box at games, and certainly he was very helpful to me over the years because salary cap in particular can get very, very complicated, and as the capologist for the last number of years, David Mcnabb was very valuable to me, that's for certain.
Well, the new cap guru, if you will, for the Anaheim Ducks is just going to have to drive about 35 miles down the 5 freeway because Jeff Solomon will take over as Vice President of Hockey Operations and Assistant General Manager after spending 13 years with the LA Kings.
And check out his wardrobe. We're going to make sure there's no silver, black, or purple in it when he arrives on the scene. Jeff Solomon's been around, started his career in the National Hockey League as a player agent. He's an attorney. And then he has shifted into the role into the hockey operations department of the Los Angeles Kings. He's been their capologist. He's also been very involved in introducing analytics into the Kings organization. And Bob Murray was saying the other day that one of the things that Jeff is going to bring to the table here in Anaheim Where the Ducks have maybe fallen a little bit behind some of the other teams is in really the deep dive into analytics to help them evaluate players.
All right, let's find out who the Ducks are going to have to choose from. Certainly the list is long, but we're going to round it to about 9 here. But first and foremost, GM Bob Murray in his post-game comments was saying that, yes, the top 6 forward would be ideal. I mean, 2.21 goals per game, last in the National Hockey League. No question the power play needs to be improved, but we're looking at prospects here, Hazy, in 2021. There's a lot of defensive gems in this one.
Well, that's the word on the street. I mean, it's an interesting draft, right? Because, for example, the Ontario Hockey League never even played this past season. I think there's going to be some names that come out of the blue in the first round of the draft this year that are really going to surprise some people. A lot of the kids that were playing in the the Ontario Hockey League actually went over to Europe, to the Swiss leagues, to the Finnish leagues, to the Slovakian and Czech leagues to play in order to just get on the ice. So I think teams feel that if you have a lot of confidence in your scouting staff, you're going to find some real gems, not only in the first round, but second, third, and fourth rounds, because it's been a very difficult year to get a handle on these youngsters' development.
And you know what? Give credit to the Anaheim Ducks, and actually, for the most part, all the scouts around the National Hockey League, they've had to work extra hard, get through the weeds, if you will, to find these kids. But there are some that stick out, and Owen Power is one that certainly stands above the rest because he's 6'6", big defenseman out of Michigan.
Well, 6 foot 6 inches, still growing. He's 215 pounds right now, and probably going to end up at about 230, 235. Think Victor Hedman of the Tampa Lightning. I mean, that's the type of projection for a guy like Owen Power. Most people have him number 1 on their draft list. I've yet to see one where he does not sit at the top. But there's a number of other names in this draft that are pretty enticing. I mean, you go down from Power to Mason McTavish. He's a centerman. Peterborough of the Ontario Hockey League. He's one of those Ontario Hockey League players that spent all year playing in the Swiss League. And he's taken a big jump. He was down around 14, 15 in a lot of draft lists probably about 2 months ago, but he has been elevated. Kent Johnson's a center at Michigan. He's a scorer. He's interesting. He's not as big maybe as some of these other guys, but a high skill player, very productive at the college level.
Well, it's going to be exciting because, as you've been talking about, Hazy, picking in at least the top 4, and who knows, 12.1% chance, I think, is the percentage that we could get the number 1 overall pick. But add these to the group of young players we got to see develop in 2020, 2021. It's going to be exciting for these Anaheim Ducks.
Well, what we saw this year was Zegras and Drysdale in the last month of the season take a quantum leap forward. At first, I thought they were both kind of feeling their way through the league, and Jamie Drysdale maybe had a couple of bumps there after his first, I would say, 7 or 8 games in the league. But boy, oh boy, the last 2-3 weeks of the regular season, he was dynamic. We saw what Zegras can do on the power play, and I know Duck fans are out there and they don't like to hear me even talk about the power play for the last 3 seasons. But with those 2 kids on the ice, the power play looked different in the last month of the regular season. So we add another high draft pick into the mix, and whoever we take is going to be a power play caliber player, and things start to look a little bit brighter. It
was must-see TV, to be honest with you, Zegras and Drysdale on that power play, because you never knew it was going to happen, and certainly their skill was showing and will only get better as we move forward. But a couple notes that I do want to make is the Ducks, one of only 2 NHL teams to have each of their top selections from 2019 and 2020 make the NHL club. That's impressive with Zegras and Drysdale. And by the way, those 2 players, top 3 in the Hockey News voted them top 3 in the National Hockey League, 1 and 3, Zegras, Drysdale, respectively.
Yeah, there's obviously a ton of potential there, and a very important summer for those 2 young men. I hope they're not watching this. Hope they're in the weight room right now because we need them to come flying out of the gates.
Flying out of the gates with the huge head of hair that they both have.
You know what, Ken? I want to touch on one more prospect in this draft, and his name is Luke Hughes. And if you're familiar at all with the Hughes family, you know that his older brothers, Quinn, who was 7th overall, and Jack, who was 1st overall, are incredibly talented players. Luke Hughes is actually bigger than the 2 brothers.
Okay.
He's a defenseman as well. Like his 2 brothers, he's a great skater, and he's a guy that could jump a little bit. Played on the U.S. National Development Team this season. And Luke Hughes is a player that I watched a little bit on video, and he's going to be a good one.
So you can't go wrong. I mean, that's what we keep telling you. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's about that time now. So we're going to direct you to turn over to the NHL Network for the NHL Draft Lottery. When it is done, please tune in right back here, and we'll break it all down for you. Good luck, Ducks. We'll see you in a few moments.
With the Honda Civic, fun and sporty can also be practical and efficient. That's because the Civic's responsive performance is matched with excellent fuel economy ratings and a stylish, roomy interior. With standard Honda sensing, a suite of safety and driver-assistive features. It's the whole package in one stunning wrapper. No wonder the Civic is the best-selling compact car over the last decade. Contact your Honda dealer to learn more or shop online.
to be a franchise-changing caliber of player in the upcoming amateur draft. So it's exciting. It's exciting. We're going to get a great player.
And this is a very deep draft. We told you about some of the top prospects before the lottery draft did happen. And oh, by the way, Trevor Zegras, 9th overall. Jamie Drysdale, 6th overall. These are guys that are going to help the Ducks for years to come as well. So picking 3rd overall is good news.
The youth movement is on. The last couple of seasons, you heard Catherine Tappan on the NHL show say that the 3rd picks are all playing in the National Hockey League this season. So 3rd picks, there's a good chance you're going to see him suiting up in a Ducks uniform next year.
Hazy, it's a busy summer for the National Hockey League, and of course the Anaheim Ducks, some big dates up on the docket.
No question. July 17th is the date that the Ducks have to submit their protected list for the expansion draft. That happens just 4 days later. Amateur draft on July 23rd, and then unrestricted free agents, you can start talking and negotiating with them on July the 28th. So going to be a busy off-season for General Manager Bob Murray. I don't think there's any question about that. And in speaking with Bob moments ago, he said he's going to be very busy prior to that time that the protected lists are submitted, because once a team submits those prior to the expansion draft, they're set in stone. So if teams are looking to make deals prior to that, I think a lot of teams will. I expect that we're going to see quite a bit of activity.
And currently the Ducks have 7 picks in the upcoming draft, but you never know, Hazy, as we get closer to the draft itself, things could change, picks could be packaged. You never know what we could see.
These are assets now in the hip pockets of general managers, and everybody's looking to improve their team. And depending on where you sit on the landscape in the National Hockey League determines whether or not you're going to hang on to picks, whether you're going to deal picks. And I always tell people this, Wayne Gretzky was traded a number of times in his career. So everything is on the table for these general managers as they look to better their teams.
And Orange Alliance members, this is an exciting time for you as well. We have an exclusive virtual event taking place for the upcoming draft, July 23rd and 24th, so stay tuned for details on that. We hope to see you there. But we are at the Great Park Ice, of course, in Irvine, as we mentioned. This facility has been partially open since June of 2020. It will continue to get closer to full capacity as we approach the middle of June, and it's exciting to see the ice skating and all the hockey players out here. And this place is starting to get a little bit of a buzz to it back like it was a year ago.
Yeah, it's fun, isn't it?
Yes.
We're getting there, folks. We are getting there. It was kind of fun to see him behind Bob Murray during the draft lottery, to see the kids. It was a clinic going on and stick time going on, and we expect that once things start to open up a little bit more in Southern California, June 15th, that we're going to be talking a lot more about adult leagues and kids leagues. And this building all of a sudden is going to get quite busy again, and we're really looking forward to that.
Go to therinks.com for all the information as far as all the programs that are coming back here to Great Park Ice. And don't forget the, I got to go between the Rinks restaurant. I got to keep looking over there. That's opening here June the 4th, where we are at right now. Well, fans, thanks so much for spending some time with us, and just some fun, exciting things on the horizon for the Anaheim Ducks this summer.
Looking forward to it. We're going to find out on day of the amateur draft who the Ducks' first-round selection is. That's going to be an exciting time, I think, for everyone.
All right, Hazy, look forward to talking to you soon. And fans, we look forward to seeing you on July 23rd and 24th for the NHL Draft.
Every road has its challenges. We say, bring them on. At Honda, we engineer each vehicle to outthink obstacles, to overcome difficult conditions. We engineer them for drivers who are determined to power through, just like you are. Rise to the challenge with the rugged performance of the Honda Passport, Pilot, and CR-V.